ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ Today I'm going to share a very sensitive and important topic which some may not like, but unfortunately it's the truth. The topic is why we Sikhs have not been able to grow and progress as a community, and why we have not been able to take Sikhi to the outside world in spite of having such a great Guru. If I may repeat, why we Sikhs have not been able to grow and progress as a community, and why we have not been able to take Sikhi to the outside world in spite of having such a great Guru. As this is a very big problem we are facing today, I request your patience. I request all of you to listen to it till the end. Now let's start. We have definitely grown in our personal capacities. We hold high esteemed jobs. We have grown as business people, as highly educated people, but we have failed to grow as a community. Sadly, we have failed to take Guru Nanak's message to the rest of the world. Now, who do we blame for this? Do we blame the Gurdwaras, the committees, the Pracharaks? Do we blame our leaders? Well, it's a yes and no answer. Because it is you and me that make up the Gurdwara committees, the Pracharaks and the leaders. So it is you and me that is to be blamed. Kabir ji says, don't blame the Guru. Don't blame his teachings. It's our fault. Kabir says, Kabir sacha Sadgur kya kara hai, jo sikha mein chook. Kabir ji says, what can the true Guru do when he seeks at fault? What a pity. Unfortunate truth. What a pity in spite of having such a great Guru. In fact, the greatest, and we are still not able to grow. We are surely growing as individuals, no doubt, but selfishly in terms of power, wealth, and reputation. And we spend all the time and energy fighting and trying to outsmart and beat each other. Now, have we asked ourselves, why do we behave so? Why so? Why do we do this? Maybe some of us have asked this question. Some of us are totally oblivious, maybe just pointing fingers. But Kabir Sahib has tried to help us here. He's tried to give us an answer in his Bani. He says, because Guru's message is missing from our life, our ego does not allow space for Guru's message in our lives. Our ego has blinded us. All our energy and focus is taken up trying to feed the ego. There is no space for Guru Nanak's message. Kabir Sahib uses an example of a bamboo to help us understand this. He says, Ande ek na la gayi jo baans bajaye fook. Ande ek na la gayi jo baans bajaye fook, meaning the blind do not take any teachings. It's as useless as blowing into a bamboo. As you know, the bamboo is hollow from inside. When you blow into the bamboo from one side, the air will come out from the other side. Just like that, Kabir says we listen to Guru's message, we take it from one ear out of the other. We are blinded by our ego. Our ego does not allow us to follow or listen to the Guru. We are so blinded by the ego. I must win. I must have everything. I must be most powerful. I must be in charge. All must obey me. I know everything. I'm smart. And I don't need the Guru. Kabir ji says ego is a very big hurdle in our growth. It makes us behave and act in the way that does not allow us to grow. Now, Kabirji uses a beautiful example of an elephant, an ant, to narrate this. How being humble, how ego becomes an obstacle in our growth, and how being humble helps us in our growth. Kabirji says, Har hai khand, रेत में बिखरी, हाथी चुनी ना जाए, कह कबीर गुरु भली बुझाई, kiti hoi ke khai. Kabirji says, if you scatter sugar in the sand and ask an elephant to pick up the grains of sugar from the sand, it will no way be possible. Only an ant is able to pick up sugar from sand. Kabir says, Har hai Khan, God and His name, His attributes are like sugar scattered in sand. To pick it up, Guru says, you will have to be an ant. Meaning, we must have a humble mindset. Just like that. If we want to be able to understand and pick the pearls of the message, of Guru's message, and bring the godly attributes into ourselves, we will have to be like an ant, not like an elephant. Meaning, don't be self-centered, don't be egoistic like an elephant. Be humble like an ant. Kabir says, be careful. This ego will drown you. Kabir, baans badai budaya, eo mat dubho koi. Badai means ego. Budaya means dub jana, to drown. Kabir says the bamboo is drowned in its egoistic pride. Kabir advises us, man, don't be like the bamboo. Don't drown yourself in ego. The bamboo is very tall and thinks there is no other taller than me. It sways in ego. Kabir says, don't sway like that. Don't drown in ego like the bamboo. Kabir says, because of this attitude, the bamboo is not able to bring fragrance into itself. Chandan ke nikte bas hai, baas sugandh na hoye. If you plant a bamboo beside the sandalwood, it will not be able to take up the fragrance of the sandalwood because of its egoistic nature. Just to sidetrack a little bit, sandalwood is a very small plant. They say it measures up to 52 fingers. It gives out a beautiful fragrance that spreads in the forest, and all the trees in the forest start to smell like chandan. But if you plant a bamboo near the wood, it will never pick up the fragrance. Just like that, lots of us come to the Sangat. Lots of us come to the Sangat. Receive the fragrance from Guru, but the egoistic person never receives fragrance from the Guru. The lowest of the low come to the Guru and become elevated by receiving Guru's message, Guru's teachings. But this egoistic person, the ego is his barrier. Guru Amar Das Ji says, ego is like darkness. Haumai vada gubar hai, haumai vich bujh na sakay koi. Meaning, here the Guru referred ego to as darkness. He says that ego takes one into total darkness. It does not allow one to understand anything. His actions are all in darkness. He behaves and acts in darkness, in the darkness of ego. In relation to this, let's move forward to understand how one behaves in the darkness of ego. Wise people have looked at a bamboo very closely and have compared it with an egoistic person. Now, this is a very important part. Listen to this carefully. These are the reasons why we are not growing as a community. Listen. First of all, a bamboo has a lot of knots along all its length. These knots represent negativity, reflecting the negative attitude of a person, always involved in fights and arguments, looking for power, wanting to be in control, cunning and deceitful, full of ego, a know-it-all attitude, has no compassion or love. In short, all the negative things that you can think about. In Punjabi, we call it avgun or kapat. Put him in a situation, he will just be fighting, quarreling and looking at everything through a negative lens. The sad truth, this is very prevalent in our community. We have people coming to Gurdwara, bringing with them a baggage of kapat, carrying it around, fighting and causing disharmony in the Sangat. They themselves are not able to benefit anything from Guru and the Sangat, and make it difficult for other people to do so as well. Now let's move on. One, it has knots. Second, the bamboo is hollow from inside. The bamboo stands tall, looks lush, but this is only an illusion. It's empty from inside. The emptiness has been referred to all talk. or as we say, empty talk. It refers to a person who does not walk his talk. Like if you look at the bamboo, the hollow bamboo, it looks good from outside, but it's empty from inside. And unfortunate truth again, a lot of us are like this. Our talk does not match our walk. We talk about religion. We talk about Guru's teachings, but we do not practice it at all. Guru says that is not a real Sikh. Guru says a real Sikh is the one who walks his talk, not just talks about Guru's message, but lives it. In Sukhmani Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj points us to a real Sikh. He says a real Sikh is Sach Karni, Sach Tahki Rahat, which means his actions and his living is truthful. Karni means actions, Rahat means his lifestyle, his living. Sach Hirde, Sat Mukh Kahat, which means the truth, which is God, is in his heart. And that truth is what he speaks from his mouth. Meaning lots of us are just empty talk. We pretend to be good people just to look good and to be popular. Now the third point, let's move on further. First, let me repeat. One, it has knots. Second, it's hollow. Now third, what is it? If you cut a normal tree, the third is it's dry from inside. A bamboo is totally dry from inside. Now if you cut any tree, you will see that there's water or liquid in its bark. But when you cut a bamboo, you will notice it's totally dry. Totally dry. The bamboo is standing tall, standing high and mighty, but it's totally dried from inside. No sweetness at all, no fragrance at all. Just like that, unfortunately, a lot of us, we stand high and mighty thinking that we are very good looking. We are from a high status of society. We are very educated. We have lots of knowledge and we are very rich. But just like the bamboo, we are very dry. We have no spiritual sweetness in our lives. Why? Because we do not live by the Guru's word and the love of God and Guru. Gurbani tells us, having all these things, Ata Sundar, meaning good looking, Kuleen, from a high caste, Mukh Jnani, very educated, knowledgeable, Tanmant. Guru says you can have all this, but you know something? This is going to be very painful. But listen, Guru says, Mirtak kahiye nanka, jeh preet nahi bhagwant. Guru says, meaning without the love of God and Guru, you are like a dead body. We are totally dried from inside. We have no love for the Guru, no love for God, no prayer in our lives, no simran in our lives, no bandagi. We are all dried. We have lost the sweetness and we have been engulfed by our selfish nature due to ego. Let me repeat the points. We have knots in our lives. We are hollow. We have no sweetness. Meaning we are dry from inside. And finally, this is the nature. Putting all these things together, this final nature of the bamboo is actually the worst thing that anybody can have. The bamboo is known to burn its own type. As you know, bamboos grow in groups. When the wind blows, the bamboo starts to sway. Swaying here, trying to prove that it is better than the other. I am high and mighty. As it sways, it starts rubbing against each other, trying to prove their might. As they sway and rub against each other, they produce heat and finally catching fire and burning the whole group of bamboos. Just like that, today, we are rushing to show how great we are, rushing to stand out, stepping on our fellow brothers and sisters to stand up. Just like the bamboo, we are willing to burn our fellow brothers and sisters. The fire of ego and selfishness burning. Doing all to make others look bad and ourselves to look good. Even to defame and destroy others. And some even willing to misinterpret and distort Guru's teachings. Our Gurudwaras, our organizations, our community is filled with such behaviors. Now to summarize, the reason we have not been able to grow, it's because we are just like the bamboo, full of ego, all the negative characteristics, full of knots with all the negative things. We are hollow, empty inside. We don't walk our talk. We are totally dried from inside. We don't have love for God. we don't have prayer in our life, we don't have Simran or Bandagi in our lives, finally, we are willing to burn our own type. Now, how do we get out of this? Guru Amar Das Ji says, there is only one way out. Nanak Sadguru miliye, home gai ta sach vasya manaye. Meeting the Guru, bringing the teachings of Guru will help us eliminate ego. And only then the truth, God and good attributes will come into our lives. Now, before I end, let's reflect. Let's all reflect together. We are always pointing fingers and others at Gurdwara committees, at organizations, at our leaders, saying that they have failed. They have failed us as a community because of their such behaviors. Now, let's stop doing that. Let's change our vocabulary from because to being the cause. Let's be the cause for the change. Let's be proud to be Sikhs. Let's take the responsibility of changing ourselves instead of pointing fingers and trying and hoping that others will change and will bring about a change for us. Let's all work to first reflect Guru's teachings in our lives and then helping spread the beautiful message of Guru Nanak to the whole world. Sadhguru Ji Kirpa Karan. Let's all work together. Let's bring the fragrance of Guru's message into our lives. Bol chuk di maafi. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.